All right, so if everybody loves Kamala Harris, put your hands up. Nobody is in love with Kamala Harris right now, and in fact, Kamala Harris is really struggling right now. Remember when she? Anyway, I'm gonna go over that point later. But it's really been a really bad time for Kamala Harris, and she's had a really bad 6 months. And her popularity isn't doing well, and it's hurting the Democratic brand, and Democrats are freaking out, and I love seeing it. I called this, everybody else called it, and she has become insanely unpopular, appallingly unpopular, and she's hitting numbers almost never hit before or in a long time. So let's look at this. I guess people don't like having a jailer, a cop in the White House. Kamala Harris has become the most, Kamala Harris has become the most unpopular U.S. vice president 6 months into an administration since the 1970s, according to polls. So according to the people, she is awful. Alarmed Democrat strategists are grappling with the vice president's floundering poll numbers, which show she is underwater. Many more Americans disapprove than approve of her job performance. The White House plans to deploy her only in certain areas to campaign ahead of next year's midterm elections. I wonder. Let me see. Maybe they're planning on sending her to areas, like California, like Olympia, Washington, like Seattle, Washington. Just saying. New York, where all the blue areas are, because they know, well, most likely those heavy ass blue areas, they won't go against her. But if we send her anywhere else, oh my God! And hopefully you don't send her to those coal miners. Woo-wee, don't do it. And we'll next year's elections, and we'll attempt to raise her profile. Oh no. By sending her on foreign trips in the coming months. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is what I was saying in the beginning of the video. In the beginning of this clip. This is like when she went to the border and it was like, don't come. Or no, she told people in Guatemala, don't come. We don't want you here. Don't come. Don't come on that treacherous journey. We need to protect our borders. Remember that? Instead of saying, hey, we're going to end the drug war. She did that. And she made the Biden administration look stupid. Look shitty, because it is. And even Joe Biden was leaking to CNN, hey, make sure you tell them that Kamala Harris is super fucking awful and stupid. Tearing my brand. She's cramping my style, bitch. And you want to send her on more foreign trips. Oh my God. How much more retarded can they get? How much more stupid? Okay. The disappointing first months of her term have also worried long-term strategists, many of whom had hoped she would run for president as early as the next election. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's ruined. Run for president. Oh, okay. Two recent polls both showed 46% of Americans approve of Ms. Harris, with 47% and 48% disapproving. Oh my God, those are terrible numbers. She doesn't even have like a 50%. The only recent vice president to have similarly poor ratings after six months was Mike Pence, but he was not underwater. You know, the guy who worked for Trump. The guy who worked for Trump, the guy that the Democrats fear-mongered about, and he was a bad president, don't get me wrong. He wasn't even underwater like Kamala Harris. Wow! According to Gallup, 42.1% approved of Mr. Pence's performance at that point, and 44.9% disapproved. Or 45, is that? Almost 45% of Americans. The previous vice president before that, Mr. Biden, The previous vice president before that, Mr. Biden, it doesn't have a comma, and so that's had an approval rating above 50% at 6 months. Before that, Dick Cheney and Al Gore were in the 60s at that same stage. Dick Cheney, the guy who started a war illegally and started an illegal torture program under international criminal law and U.S. human rights law, the guy who helped in the subprime mortgage crisis, the guy who got Al-Qaeda into more areas that they weren't in, made the Taliban more powerful, couldn't get bin Laden, and did the housing crisis and the Great Recession of 2008. That guy was still as popular as, right? So, and again, Bush hadn't done all that crazy shit yet. Even Dan Quayle, the much mocked vice president, of George H.W. Bush, George Herbert Walker. I gotta get this joke right. George Herbert Walker Bush. Anyway, was nowhere near underwater after 6 months. He had an approval rating of 43% and a disapproval of just 22%, with 34% undecided. Mr. Bush himself was a popular vice president under Ronald Reagan, as was his predecessor, Walter Mondale, who became Jimmy Carter's vice president in 1976. Now, here's another number, and I'm going to get to this. Only 36% of young people approve of, have a favorable view of her. 36% of young people. Now, the Biden administration argued, or the Biden team campaigned and said, we don't need the young people to win this election. We got the old. And it was partly true. Now, here's the thing with Kamala. I guess people I just don't like the fact that they're continuing the war on drugs. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe, because she jailed a bunch of black and brown people, and they're still jailing a bunch of black and brown people, and they're trying to continue a little known rule in the laws that basically says you can sentence people for longer times and give them longer sentences and more harsh ones because they smoked a little weed, had a little meth, had a little bit of cocaine, methamphetamine, Xanax, whatever, little weed, little marijuana. They did all of that, and yet Kamala Harris is still doing it, and Joe Biden is still doing it. I don't know, maybe those Guatemalans didn't feel that message of do not come, which is what which is what she tells her man. Don't come. Ah, shit. Woo-wee, I'm gonna get kicked off of YouTube. I hope not. But anyway, so that's what she says. So 36% of young people, and I have two young people that love Kamala Harris. It was that phone call. Damn it. They love Kamala Harris. And I'm talking about my friend at George Adam Evans, and my brother, Nate. They love her. It's all great. Think about the election stealing. No one cares about that shit. Because it doesn't happen, and they're just covering for the issues that they're not solving. They love her. They don't think anything's wrong. But if you don't have 36% of the young people, maybe it's because of that. Maybe it's because she jailed parents for truancy, for their students not going to school. Were they white parents? No. There were some, but they were mainly black and brown parents. And even one of the moms who was in the hospital got dragged out, and she had photographers there to capture the moment. Maybe they don't like the woman and the man who Wall Street picked to be our president and vice president. You didn't pick her. You didn't pick him. Our voices, none of our voices were heard. Wall Street's voice was heard. Apparently, the people don't like that. I don't know. And another thing about Kamala, she's Hillary Clinton. She's like Hillary Clinton 2.0 or 3.0. She is so effing unlikable. Wherever she goes, people don't like her. Whatever she says, whenever she opens her mouth, it's like... It's like Joe Biden. The more he fucking talked and got out of the basement, people were like, oh, fuck that. That guy, But if you... Right? So Kamala Harris is so unlikable. And if you have her against Trump, forget it. Fuck it. That's not happening. It's not. You literally will not have that. And it's gonna go bye-bye. Maybe if you have her and Pence, maybe, but her and Trump, you'll demolish her. And there's a question of, will the anti-Trump fury and symptoms still continue? I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. The reason I don't think so is it's going to be 4 years, and Biden told everybody to go to sleep. Because Biden told everybody to go to sleep. Liberals went to brunch, they went to lunch, and they started fucking falling asleep. And that's why we don't have homelessness solved. We don't have people with health care. We don't have the healthcare issue solved. We don't have a $15 minimum wage. We don't have the student debt crisis solved because they don't want us to be out of debt for doing the thing they told us to do. There's nothing that they have fixed. The climate is still burning, basically. The Arctic is warming up. The ocean's warming up. And they haven't done anything about it. And good luck in the midterms. Vote for us. We've done nothing for you. And good luck with Kamala against Trump, because he's out funding everybody in the fucking Republican Party trying to run. Nikki Haley and all those, Ron DeSantis, outraising everybody, and Kamala just has no chance against Trump. And I just love these unpopular numbers for Kamala. It's just incredible. It's karma, and karma's a real biatch, like Kamala is. And you would think Biden is so old, he's been in politics, he should know better, but apparently he didn't, and now he's paying the price for it.